Today, you're about to watch one of the craziest vehicle recoveries I've ever seen. This isn't your typical restoration where someone drags an old truck out of a barn, fixes a few dents, sprays on fresh paint, and calls it a day. No. This little Japanese Kei truck spent years sitting at the bottom of a river, completely underwater. Before we go any further, I want you to take a good look at these first images. Can you tell what model it is? And more importantly, do you honestly think this truck can be saved? Because when I first saw it, I thought there was absolutely no chance. By the end of this video, we'll find out if I was right. These tiny Japanese work trucks were built to fit Japan's Kei vehicle regulations. Most weigh around 1,500 pounds and use a tiny 660 cubic centimeters three-cylinder engine. They're slow, simple, and incredibly reliable, which is exactly why people all over the world have started importing them over the last few years. And today, that simplicity might be the only reason this truck has a chance. Because honestly, it looks terrible. The entire body is covered in rust. There are dents everywhere. The roof has completely collapsed. The door is barely open. And what worries me most isn't even the bodywork. It's the frame. If the chassis is bent, this restoration could become far more complicated than anyone expects. But before they can rebuild anything, they have to get it out of the river. After sitting underwater for years, the truck is buried in mud. The wheels are almost invisible and the cab is packed with sediment. Even though these little trucks are lightweight, years of mud trapped inside have added hundreds of pounds. And the higher it comes, the worse it looks. Wow, the roof is crushed, the cab is completely destroyed. And then we see the interior. Honestly, it looks more like an old fishing boat than a truck. The seats are gone. Everything is covered in mud. At this point, I'm seriously wondering if this project is even worth attempting. Once it's loaded onto the trailer, we finally get a better look underneath. The exhaust is almost gone. The suspension is covered in rust. The drivetrain has clearly spent years underwater. And I'm still hoping the frame somehow survived, because replacing rusty parts is one thing. Straightening a damaged frame is something else entirely. The part I'm most curious about, though, is the engine. It's obviously full of muddy water. The oil is long gone. Every internal component has been exposed to moisture for years. Will they rebuild it or replace it? Let's find out. Back at the workshop, they unload the truck and inspect the damage more closely. Well, here's the first bit of good news. The steering still moves. Not exactly a miracle, but it's a start. The first job is obvious. Wash away years of mud. A pressure washer quickly removes the thick layer of dirt covering the truck, revealing what they're actually working with. Sometimes cleaning exposes good news. Sometimes it reveals even bigger problems. Fortunately, this truck gives us a little of both. As they begin removing body panels, something surprising happens. Several hinges still move freely. Some sections of the body are actually stronger than I expected. That's one thing I really admire about older Japanese vehicles. They were built to work, not to impress. Even after years underwater, parts of this truck are still fighting to survive. The bed also looks better than expected, so the teardown continues. Out comes the fuel tank, completely filled with muddy water. Then the exhaust, the drive shaft, the transmission, and finally, the little 660 cubic centimeter engine. One of the biggest advantages of these trucks is just how simple they are. No complicated electronics, no hybrid systems, no dozens of computers controlling every function, just straightforward mechanical engineering. Next, the body is lifted off the frame. The setup looks basic, but it works. With the frame exposed, they remove the leaf springs, axles, suspension, and everything else underneath. Now the real restoration begins. The first priority is the body. They aggressively sand away the rust to see how much solid metal is left. Some panels clean up surprisingly well. Others have rusted completely through. The roof is one of the worst areas. Years underwater, combined with the original accident, have left it badly deformed. Instead of simply covering everything with body filler, they spend time reshaping the metal using hammers and heat. They constantly check their progress using the windshield opening as a reference to make sure everything lines up correctly. Where the rust has eaten through the steel, new patches are fabricated and welded into place. It's not perfect, but considering where this truck started, the progress is impressive. Once the repairs are complete, the entire cab receives a coat of primer. That protects the bare metal and gives the paint a proper surface to bond to. I do wish they'd painted it inside a proper booth. Spraying outside always risks dust contaminating the finish. But this project has never been about perfection. It's about bringing a forgotten truck back to life using the tools and budget they have available. Next come the doors. And honestly, they're in rough shape. Large sections have to be rebuilt from scratch. Fresh sheet metal is welded in. The panels are reshaped by hand, and slowly they begin looking like doors again. The amount of body filler they're using does make me a little nervous. Every restoration uses filler. That's completely normal. But if rust is still hiding underneath, it'll eventually come back. Maybe they've removed all of it. Maybe they haven't. What do you think? Would you trust this repair? Or would you have replaced the doors completely? Let me know in the comments. After sanding everything smooth, the doors receive fresh paint and are reinstalled. I probably would have painted them separately. But considering the conditions they're working in, the results are better than I expected. And remember, if this truck were being restored by a high-end shop in the US, the labor bill alone would almost certainly cost more than buying another Kei Truck. That's what makes this project so interesting. It isn't about building a show truck. It's about proving that something everyone else gave up on can still be saved. With the body mostly finished, it's finally time for my favorite part, the mechanical rebuild. The mechanical rebuild starts with the suspension and drivetrain. Everything comes apart. The drive shaft, leaf springs, axle components, and mounting hardware are cleaned, inspected, and painted before going back together. It's not glamorous work, but it's the foundation of the entire truck. If these parts aren't right, nothing else matters. One thing I would pay extra attention to here is the suspension and brakes. Those are the systems that directly affect safety, and they're worth taking the time to rebuild properly. With the chassis coming back together, it's finally time for the part I've been waiting for since the beginning, the engine. This tiny 660 cubic centimeter engine has spent years underwater. Most people would have written it off immediately, but these guys are actually going to try saving it. The moment they remove the cylinder head, everything changes. The inside of the engine is packed with mud. Not dirty oil, not sludge. Actual river mud. It's hard to believe an engine could ever recover from something like this. Still, they don't give up. The engine is completely disassembled. Every major component is cleaned by hand. The cylinder head, the pistons, the crankshaft, the camshaft. Every oil passage is flushed until it's spotless. Next, they clean every gasket surface, remove the remaining rust from the outside of the block, and apply fresh paint. Slowly, the engine starts looking new again. Then comes reassembly. Fresh bearings are lubricated. The pistons slide back into the cylinders. New gaskets replace every old seal. Every bolt is torqued into place. Little by little, the engine comes back to life. And honestly, I think this is the strongest part of the entire restoration. The bodywork isn't perfect, but the engine rebuild is surprisingly thorough considering the limited tools they're working with. Once the engine is complete, they move on to the transmission. Just like before, everything comes apart. Every gear is cleaned, every bearing is inspected, fresh lubricant goes everywhere before reassembly. Transmission work always looks easy in time-lapse. In reality, it's one of the most precise jobs in any restoration. One small mistake can destroy the entire gearbox. Fortunately, everything goes back together smoothly. The transmission is bolted to the engine, creating a complete drivetrain once again. Now comes one of the most satisfying moments of the build. The engine is lowered back into the frame. The mounts line up perfectly. The transmission is secured. The drive shaft is connected. Then come the fuel tank, exhaust system, shifter, and all the remaining mechanical components. One thing I really appreciate about these Kei trucks is how easy they are to work on. Everything is accessible. There aren't plastic covers hiding every bolt. You can actually see what you're repairing. It's one of the reasons these little trucks have become so popular in the United States over the last few years. They're affordable, dependable, and surprisingly capable despite their size. With the mechanical work complete, attention turns back to the cab. The wiring goes in. The dashboard is installed. Controls, seats, glass. Little by little, the truck starts looking complete again. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. After years underwater, after countless hours of work, the key turns. I honestly wasn't expecting it. Not only does it start, it actually sounds good. No horrible knocking, no clouds of smoke. Moments like this are exactly why people love restoration projects. But they're not finished yet. The truck bed still needs plenty of work. The remaining rust is sanded away. Any steel that's too far gone is cut out and replaced. The damaged panels are straightened using heat and a hammer. Even the support brackets underneath are repaired before everything is welded back together. Once the metal work is finished, they apply body filler where needed. Sand everything smooth and spray on fresh paint. No, it isn't a concours quality finish, but that's never been the goal. The goal has always been much simpler. Bring this truck back from the dead. Finally, the restored bed is lowered back onto the frame. The lights are installed. The final bolts are tightened. And for the first time, the truck is complete. It's honestly hard to believe this is the same vehicle that came out of the river. The transformation is incredible. Now, is this a perfect restoration? Definitely not. Some body repairs could have been cleaner. I would have preferred to see the paint applied inside a proper booth. And there are a few shortcuts that probably wouldn't happen in a professional restoration shop. But I also think it's important to judge this project for what it is. This wasn't about building a six-figure show truck. It wasn't about creating a museum piece. It was about saving something almost everyone else would have given up on. And in that sense, I'd call it a success. Think about where this truck started. Years underwater, a destroyed interior, a mud-filled engine, heavy rust everywhere. Most people would have hauled it straight to the scrapyard. Instead, it got a second chance. And that's something I can definitely respect. Now, I want to hear your opinion. If this truck had been yours, would you have restored it, or would you have walked away and bought another one? And what was your favorite part of this build? The bodywork, the engine rebuild, or hearing it start for the very first time? Let me know down in the comments. I read as many of them as I can. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you in the next restoration.